Hello everyone. Today I, Anushri Pandey from the Department of Buddhist Studies of University of Delhi will be discussing with you all on module number 40 of paper number 12 Philosophy of Buddhism 1. This module deals with Sant Taraksita's view on selflessness. After going through this module, we will be able to understand the meaning of self, the Buddhist view on self, the development of Buddhist theory of selflessness, and the view of Sant Taraksita on self. So, let's begin. As we all know that Buddhism was started by Lord Buddha around 6th century BC. After getting enlightened under the Bodh tree, Buddha taught Buddhism throughout his life, whether a person was poor or rich. Buddha taught Buddhism to everyone. The main teachings of Buddha were the Four Noble Truths, which states, number 1, there is suffering. Number 2, there is cause of suffering. Number 3, there is cessation of suffering. And number 4, there is way leading to the cessation of suffering. Apart from this Four Noble Truths, the other main teachings of Buddha were the doctrine of Pratitya Samutpad, also known as the doctrine of dependent origination, and the theory of no self, also known as the theory of selflessness, which in Sanskrit is known as Ananta. After the death of the Buddha, these teachings were continued by his followers. Their followers elaborated and explored the teaching of Buddha in more liberal way. In this, around 8th century AD, a famous Indian Buddhist philosopher named Sant Taraksita gave his further analysis on the self. He is also said to be the founder of the Buddhist philosophical school known as Yogacara Svatantrika Madhyamika. This school is the united form of Nagarjuna's Madhyamika and Asanga's Yogacara. So, in order to understand his view on selflessness, it is important for us to understand the meaning of self and also how the theory of selflessness was developed in Buddhism. So, first let us discuss what exactly the word self means. Generally, the term self, soul or Atma in Sanskrit indicate a permanent, everlasting, absolute entity which is found in every individual. This absolute entity is said to be also the unchanging substance behind the ever-changing phenomenal world. According to some religion, this soul is present in every individual. Every individual has a separate self, and after the death of the body, this self or soul is present in hell or heaven according to judgment of their creator, according to their karma done in their whole life. According to some philosophical school like Advait Vedant, self or soul takes numerous births unless or until it completely gets purified and united with the Supreme Self, which is Brahman for them. It is this Brahman from which this self were originally came out. So, this was all the view by the other religion. But according to Buddha, this concept of self or even the concept of God is merely a false concept. It is an empty concept. This concept are so much deep-rooted in man that various philosophical schools developed various theories on this concept, because of which this concept becomes more and more closer and dearer to every individual. As a result, no one was ready to hear anything against this view of self or God. Buddha knew this very well, that his teaching was against the current flow of the society. But his teaching also never supported any kind of ignorance, fear which was present in a human, because such qualities only weakens a person from inside. So, according to Buddha, the concept of self was completely an imaginary and a false concept. This concept had absolutely no match with the reality. The idea of self is very dangerous, as they produce or give rise to various harmful ideas and destructive ideas of myself, me, etc. This idea is said to be dangerous or destructive because this idea gives rise to various kinds of suffering that a human being faces in this world. Further, this also becomes the root cause of all the conflicts which takes place in this world. Whether a small conflict which takes place between two human beings, or a big conflict or a war which takes place between two nations. So, according to Buddha, the idea of self is not a correct or a good idea. It is a destructive idea. He later explained how such idea got produced in a human being. According to Buddha, the idea of self or the idea of God is the result of two psychological innate ideas. These are, number one, the idea of self-protection, and second, the idea of self-preservation. In the idea of self-protection, human being created the concept of God as someone superior to him on which he can depend for his well-being, for his protection, for his security. In the second innate idea, which is the idea of self-preservation, human being created the concept of self. Self as an absolute, permanent and an everlasting entity which always exists. But this idea was arised from the fear and ignorance inside a man. And due to this idea, human being became more and more weak, and they got more and more dependent upon such concept. So, this is how the concept of self emerged in a human being. Now let us discuss how Buddha negated this theory and gave rise to the theory of no self. In Buddhism, the theory of no self comes out by analyzing the two major principles. First one is the principle of five aggregates, and next is the doctrine of the Pratitya Samutpad, also known as the doctrine of dependent origination. These two theories were analyzed by analytic method and synthetic method. So let us discuss these two theories. The first one comes the five aggregate. The five aggregate theory is analyzed by the analytic method. According to this theory, Buddha explains that every individual is formed by the five aggregates, and these five aggregates are responsible for everything that happens in a human being. These five aggregates are: number 1, matter; number 2, sensation; number 3, perception; number 4, mental formation; and finally, consciousness. These five aggregates is briefly discussed in the first noble truth of the Buddhism. Every human being is formed out of these five aggregates. So, when we analyze these five aggregates, we find that there is nothing which is named as soul. Everything exists in these five aggregates. So, there is no substance like soul which can be found behind them. Next comes the synthetic method. In the synthetic method, the doctrine of dependent origination is examined. According to this doctrine, nothing in this world is permanent. There is nothing in this world which is absolute. Everything in this world is only relative, conditioned, and they are dependent upon some other thing. This doctrine of dependent origination is also known as the theory of relativity of Buddhism. This theory is considered to be the central teaching of Buddhism, because from this theory one can analyze the theory of karma, the theory of momentariness, and also the theory of no self. The doctrine of dependent origination actually consists of the 12 links. These 12 links are: number 1, ignorance; number 2, impression of the karmic forces; number 3, the initial consciousness of the embryo; number 4, psychophysical organism; number 5, 6 sense organs including mind; number 6, sense organ contact; number 7, sense experience; number 8, thirst for this sense enjoyment; number 9, cling to this enjoyment; number 10, will to born; number 11, rebirth or birth; and finally, number 12, old age and death. These are the 12 factors or the 12 links of the dependent origination. this 12 links should not be considered as a chain, but this 12 links actually forms a circle, which is also known as the Bhava Chakra or the Dharma Chakra. In this circle, the full life of an individual is shown. It shows the process how an individual comes or takes birth in this world and how he lives the world. In this 12 link, the first 2 link is associated with our past life. The last 2 link is associated with our future life, and the links which is in between associated with our present life. So, according to this doctrine, everything in this world is relative, dependent. They are interconnected. There is nothing in this world which is completely independent or which is absolute or that which is ultimate. So, everything has a cause. There is no first cause. The existence of everything has a cause, and later it also produces an effect. And after some time, this effect also becomes cause of some other existence. So, by analyzing this theory using synthetic method, we reach to the conclusion that there is no concept such as self in this world. Therefore, by analyzing the doctrine of dependent origination and by analyzing the 5 aggregates which is found in an individual, we say that there is nothing which is self or soul, which is permanent or absolute in this world. Therefore, the concept of self is a false belief, and this is the doctrine of no self or selflessness or Ananta. Now question arises that if there is no self in this world, then why we use expressions such as I, you, being, individual, etc. For this, in Buddhism, there has been made a distinction between 2 kinds of truth: the conventional truth and the ultimate truth. According to the conventional truth, when we use the word such as I, you, individual, or a being, we use this in our daily life because it is based on our convention, on our customs, which we use in order to show an individual separate from the other individual. For this basis only, we use such expression like I, you, and so on. This only depends upon the convention which we have made in our daily life for our easier understanding. But it does not mean that there is actually a separate self in reality. And this is known as the ultimate truth. So, according to the ultimate truth, there is nothing like this self which we use in our conventional life in the ultimate reality. Buddhism has made this distinction to be a very important distinction. Because of this distinction, one will not get confused between the usage of such expression and its meaning in the ultimate life. Therefore, according to Buddha, there is no self. In order to prove his stand, Buddha also gave 3 quotes. These 3 quotes are: number 1, all things in this world are conditioned and relative. Number 2, these conditioned things are dukkha, suffering, misery. Number 3, dharma are also without self or soul. So, with the help of these 3 quotes, Buddha says that there is no self inside a man as well as outside him. Dharma is the most important concept in Buddhism. There is no wider concept than dharma in Buddhism. This dharma consists of the both conditional and relative thing in this world, as well as it consists of the absolute and the unconditional thing, which is also known as nirvana. So, dharma is the body which consists of both conditional and unconditional things. And this dharma is also without any self or soul. Therefore, there is no self in reality. This view on dharma is also maintained by the 2 sects of Buddhism, which are known as the Mahayana and the Hinayana. Both the school of Buddhism, without any differences, accept this theory of no self. So, we found that there is no self in the Buddhism. But in order to find the concept of self in Buddhism, some scholars also misinterpreted few quotes of Buddha. Let's take one example. One quote of Buddha says, Atahi ananto natho. According to this quote, it is translated as self is the lord of the self. But this translation is incorrect. Here, the word ata is translated as self. But the actual meaning of ata here is that it is a Pali word which is used as a reflexive pronoun of myself, yourself, oneself, etc. It does not mean any soul or any self. Further, the word nato means protection, support, or taking help. But here it is misinterpreted as Lord. So, the correct translation of this quote is that one is one's own help or support, which says that one should only rely on himself or oneself for his protection. One must not rely on other for his protection. Now, after the death of the Buddha, his teachings were continued by the followers, and hence around 8th century AD, a Buddhist philosopher named as Sant Tariksita gave his further analysis on self. According to Sant Tariksita, the realization of selflessness is of two types. Number one, the selflessness of a person, and number two, the selflessness of a phenomenon. The first type, which shows the selflessness of a person, is realized by Hinayana Buddhism, according to Sant Tariksita. And the second kind of realization, which is selflessness of the phenomena, was only realized by the Lord Buddha. So, according to him, these are the major difference between a Buddha and the Hinayana school. Sant Tariksita believes that the realization of selflessness is very important in order to achieve the stage of liberation. It is because it removes all the obstacles which is been created by our disturbing emotions and desire or passion. So, if one can remove such obstacles and put his full effort towards it, then he can finally attain the Buddhahood. So, realization of selflessness is very important for one to attain the stage of Buddhahood. So, this was the view on the selflessness given by the Sant Tariksita. He completely follows what Buddha taught and gave his further view, which I discussed. Now, let us have a further analysis on the concept of self. Sometimes people take the meaning of self as mind or a consciousness, but this is wrong. According to Buddha, one should only limit the meaning of self to the physical body and should not reach to the mental or the mind consciousness, because self is not equivalent to the mind and consciousness. It is because our mind and consciousness changes very fast, very rapidly, every day, every night, every minute, every second. It changes very fast compared to the physical body of a person. Therefore, in one hand, we are saying that the self is the permanent and absolute entity, and on the other hand, we are making this equivalent to the mind or consciousness, which is always in this continuous state of flux. So this creates the contradiction between the two. So one should not focus on this. The only reality of this world is nirvana, and one must only realize this truth. It is incorrect to hold that the teaching of Buddha is completely nihilist, because he completely denies the existence of the self. But this is really incorrect, because the teaching of no self is actually the teaching of reality, the truth, which is the nirvana for Buddhism. So, according to Buddha, one should not try to keep an affirmative view or a negative view towards the theory of self. One should avoid keeping such views, because if I say I have a self and if I say I don't have a self, in both the phrase I use the word I have. So this again indicates the existence of self, which leads one to problem. So one should, according to Buddha, not have any kind of view on self. In other words, Buddha said that one should have a neutral view towards not only the self but towards everything in this world. Doctrine of self is very important in Buddhism, because this doctrine, which teaches us there is no self in reality, helps us to remove all the false belief which has been created by darkness in one's life. By removing such darkness, one can get the true light of the true knowledge. And this true knowledge, or the ultimate reality, is nirvana. That's all for this topic. Thank you.